We are here this afternoon to announce the filing of a personal injury civil rights lawsuit on behalf of my client, Jamal Shakir Jr. And on May 29th of 2020, Jamal Shakir was playing video games with his homeboys from Atlanta when he heard the helicopters and the protests and the chants about the death of George Floyd. And being the filmmaker that he is, he decided to join for the first time in his 22 years. And he wanted to be part of the struggle. There was a skirmish line across Spring Street, and there were police officers in riot gear, part of that warrior mentality that permeates law enforcement. And young Jamal Shakir chose to walk in that empty space, and he implored those officers that he saw who looked like him, African American. He saw one, "Hey brother, put down your arms, join us." And then he reads the name on his helmet, Anderson. And Eric Anderson, I'm saying his name because I want him fired. Eric Anderson motioned, and another cop with a less than lethal fired his weapon, being filmed. And that projectile struck Jamal in his hand, damaging ligaments. He was in treatment just last week for his hand. And Eric Anderson, a P2, directs that guard to fire a second shot, hitting him in the butt. Bluer than blood reflects the cultural problem of the warrior mentality. And Eric Anderson is the poster child for all that is wrong with the culture of policing that permeates our society.
The irony of this entire story is just that I spent my entire life doing everything to prevent being a statistic of the criminal justice system or being a victim of the police brutality force, just due to the fact of my circumstances of my mother and father being incarcerated at an early age. This whole insight of everything that's been going on has just been given the breakdown of the code of honor and code of ethics that the badge actually holds. To be able to do such a thing, despite it being your family, your blood, or your own people, is something that is tremendously affecting the entire community, not just because it's black, not just because it's white, just because there's plenty of people that's been affected by this. So I feel like the reason for me speaking out is not just for me, it's for the people that don't have the opportunity to speak out, don't have the opportunity to be able to voice their pain and voice their hurt.
And I, along with many of us from Black Lives Matter, are just extremely grateful for the courage that Jamal Shakir showed. The right of folks to come into the streets and protest police violence and police brutality, and how Jamal was heeding what we believe to be his sacred duty and coming out and standing in the name of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery and Waukesha Wilson and all of those who are killed right here in Los Angeles. Jamal was doing what his ancestors require of him. And what he was met with is the legacy of violent policing in this country. What he was met with is a policing system that absolutely hails from slave catching, a policing system that didn't care that who he was facing was his own blood, because Eric Anderson had been overtaken and he had been completely indoctrinated by the rhetoric and the belief and the positioning of violent policing in this country that would call on him to have someone pull less than lethal force against his own blood. And so we are here to say that we are not just committed to reforming a fundamentally unjust system. We are committed to transforming a system, transforming this world into a world where we can lift up names, where people can engage in righteous protest and be safe. We know that we've been working as Black Lives Matter to get courts to intervene. We've gotten the court to intervene and ban the use of less than lethal force, or less than lethal force that's still harmful, that's still damaging. Just yesterday, a federal court ruled that there is now an injunction against these very same munitions that were used against Jamal Shakir. We know also that the system doesn't reform itself, doesn't transform itself. It takes the will of the people. And
This case speaks about the brainwashing. I said it. The brainwashing that so indoctrinates a young brother to use force and violence against his own blood, merely for speaking the truth about justice. This has all been recorded. It didn't last 9 minutes and 29 seconds. But the message that we here stand to demand is clear. Justice begins now, and Jamal Shakir will be the means. Thank you for coming, and may God bless.
Thanks for watching StreetTV.net. If you're not subscribed, please hit that button below and click the bell to receive alerts and notifications. Feel free to comment below so you can give us your feedback, and be sure to watch the 2 related episodes to the right. If you want to support this platform or follow us on social media, visit the links in the description, and thanks for watching StreetTV.net.